everyone. Welcome to the November 18th, 2024 meeting of the Carver School Committee. If everyone could please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Check the lights, Mr. Griffin.
A little bit of mood lighting.
Well, a little mood lighting.
Illuminates the crowd.
Technical issues,
Right?
Yeah.
just some technical issues.
Welcome, everyone. Nice to see a full house for happy reasons. With that, I will turn it over to Mr. Neef so he can kick us off.
Yeah, so first, just a reminder that this meeting is available to the public on Zoom, live on Area 58, and live in Meeting Hall 1 at Town Hall. And we're just going to take a couple things out of order this evening. So we're going to reorganize the agenda just a bit. So we're going to start this evening with a promotion of our middle high school drama production, The Addams Family. So I'd like to welcome Lillian Wiafe and Taylor Whipple and Mrs. Johnson to come up and tell us a little about the upcoming production. And then after that, then we'll do our MCAS recognitions. So welcome to Taylor and Lillian and Mrs. Johnson.
Welcome.
Hey, thank you, everyone. We're very excited. This is our second year. We're doing a Carver Middle High School with the middle and high school all together. So it's called The Addams Family. Right beside me, we have Wednesday and we have Fester, so part of the leads. And we do have a little thing that we're going to show you, and then we're just going to mention one thing that we're something that that we find memorable and why we want you to watch our show. So,
Excellent.
without further ado, here we go. So you're going to try to put it. Ready? Action.
That's right. We have a problem.
His name is Lucas Beneke, and I'm in love.
That's right. Little Wednesday Addams, that charming, irrepressible bundle of malice who would poison her own brother just for a ride in the ambulance, has grown up and found love. So here's the deal. Gather around. I'm not letting you back into the crypt until love triumphs.
But Fester.
As Wednesday's uncle, it is my job to make sure that she gets to enjoy the misery of love. So, who is this fella? Does he really love her? Is he worthy of her? What is love, anyways? Does this rash look serious to you? So many questions about love, but when you think about it, is there anything more important?
Okay, so I can tell you from my experience, and I'll tell you the times and dates when we wrap it up, but it's just that we have an amazing cast. We had so many people audition. I can't get over the talent and how quickly they're learning and how versatile they all are. So Wednesday, Taylor Whipple, what is something you'd like to share?
Well, I feel like all of the cast participates, and they're all mostly there most of the time. Most of the time. And everyone really is really passionate about their acting. They try their best, and we're doing pretty good so far.
And we've got Lillian YF on Fester.
I'd say that this year, the amount of support, like Taylor said, was really good. I feel like everyone is super involved. In past years, there's always a few stragglers who, don't really care. They like it, but they aren't all in. But I feel like everyone I've seen is fully in. They're learning all the choreography. They're memorizing their lines. And it's just really good to see the community that we're building.
Love it.
So if you're all interested, and I can't see why you wouldn't be, The Addams Family is going to be Friday, December 6th at 7 p.m. at the Carver Middle High School Auditorium, and Saturday, December 7th at 7 p.m. at, did I say 6 p.m.? At 7 p.m. both days. Oh, you know what it is, December 6th. So the 6th and the 7th.
December
this
6th
is
and
hard.
7th at 7 p.m.
I know. At 7 p.m. We'd love to see you all there. Thank you.
All right, thank you for being here.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you. I apologize for running late. I have a cold, so sometimes things just catch up with all of us, so I apologize for tardiness.
You were here at 5:55. You were not late.
Still, just starting things off a little kerfuzzled.
So our second recognition this evening is
Thank you.
our MCAS recognitions. This evening, we want to recognize our students who've gone above and beyond by receiving a score of exceeding expectations on the MCAS exam, an accomplishment that reflects their dedication, perseverance, and commitment to learning. Students, your success is a testament to your hard work, curiosity, and resilience. We're so proud of what you've achieved, and we know this is just the beginning of your greatness. To parents, teachers, and supporters in the audience this evening, thank you for your support and encouragement of your students. Your role in fostering these students' growth is invaluable, and today I know you take a lot of pride in this moment. Congratulations to each and every one of you. You are all truly exceptional, and we're fortunate to have you as part of our school community as students at our school. So at this time, I'm going to call everybody's name. So if you could please come forward. Sometimes it's tough to be the first person in line, and we'll have everybody come forward. We'll give everybody their certificate, and then we'd like to do a picture with the group, with the school committee. So if students could come forward and remain forward. So Daxton Fuller is going to be the first one up for Exceeding Expectations ELA. Daxton, go right up front. And stand there for a long time. You'll have friends up soon. Kendall Holmes for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test. Maggie Kemp for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test.
He's my neighbor. I know Peanut. He can catch Peanut.
Brendan Kelly for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test. Dexter Costas for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test. Sorry, Dexter Costas. That's I apologize. We'll say it again. Andrew Lamell for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test again. Will Lyman for Exceeding Expectations in the science and test. Hope Mannix for Exceeding Expectations in the English language arts and test. John Murray for Exceeding Expectations in the science and test. Alexi McDonald for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test.
Woo! I know 3 kids.
Madison McMorrow for Exceeding Expectations in the English language arts and test. Gregory Mead for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test. Elliot Mueller for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test. Thank you, Mr. Levon Mulready for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test. Jeff Clement for Exceeding Expectations in the math and test. And Milo Pelkey for Exceeding Expectations in the math and Castle. That's everyone. I'm going to school people to come forward. We'll do a picture. I'm going to kind of come close together. Tall people in the back.
Parents, I will get out of your way, I promise.
Parents, you come in, guys, feel this tight. Big picture for us. Come forward this way. Congratulations, everybody.
We'll take a couple, then you gotta stay here for your parents, okay? Excellent, stay free. One more.
One more. Congratulations, everybody.
I remember we got a pizza party for beating the class of '93.
I'm in our school. That wasn't me, so. I'm old.
So the little boy that was right in front of me, his family is there for peanut whisperers when peanut gets out. It's
Oh, nice.
Peanut
All right, well, bear with us for a few minutes as we, as the room clears out. I guess people don't want to stay for the rest of our meeting. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you for joining us. You're very welcome. Take care.
Should lock the doors when the meeting starts.
Welcome.
You're trapped. It's like the second shift will come in now.
Right?
Second shift.
Oh my gosh. Why wouldn't it let me get to the agenda? Oh, because it doesn't like it. There we go.
Recognition for Teresa.
You're gonna move that,
Yeah,
right?
I'll make a suggestion in a second once everybody's cleared the
Okay.
room.
Are we gonna move that?
Yes, she's gonna do a presentation
Oh, good.
as well, so.
Excellent.
Feel free to come on in, there's plenty of empty seats now. Okay, so,
Yeah, so I would like to make a recommendation. The next thing on the posted agenda was a recognition of Teresa Verrazano, Roseanne Cavallo, and Holly Hoffman. But we're actually going to tie a presentation together with that recognition. We're still going to do the recognition this evening. But my recommendation, if the committee is okay with it, is that we move that to the first agenda item under reports from the superintendent, and that we do the comments from the APC, et cetera.
okay.
If
Does
that
anyone
works for
have
everybody.
any issues? Nope. Okay, let's see, is Tom,
I do not
On
see
Zoom?
Tom here. So I mean, we may not have comments from the APC tonight.
okay. I do not see him either. Doesn't appear that Tom is in the room, so,
So
okay, so that
on
will,
next agenda item, we're excited to have our first presentation from our middle school student ambassadors. So we can applaud for that. And we have 5 presenters this evening. Sydney Matrano, Aliana McKay. Did I say that right? Aliana, did I get Aliana right? Yep. Patrick Torme, Taylor Whipple, and Alec Gill. And if you give me a second, I'll just bring your presentation up. So hi, everybody. Thank you for being
Yeah.
here this evening.
welcome, we're very excited to have the middle schoolers here, so we welcome you.
Yeah, and as you just, if you can just slide the mic around as you speak, that would be great.
My name is Sydney Matrano. I am in 8th grade. I joined the Student Ambassadors program because I enjoy helping others around my school.
Hi, I'm Aliana Mackey. I'm in 7th grade, and I joined to be a student ambassador because I like to help out with people, and I just like to help around with other things going around school.
Hi, my name is Taylor Whipple. I'm in 8th grade and I became a student ambassador because I enjoy helping people.
Hi, my name is Patrick Torme. I'm in 6th grade, and I joined Student Ambassadors because I like to help people out.
My name is Alec Gill. I chose to be a student ambassador to be a leader and set a good example.
This year, we all applied to be student ambassadors. We had to complete an application and attend a meeting during WIN to learn what it means to be a student ambassador. A student ambassador is a student who represents their grade level by modeling the school's motto of being respectful, responsible, and being the best you can be. An ambassador is defined by their leadership skills, good character, kindness, a willingness to help others, and a positive attitude. Becoming an ambassador is an opportunity to increase our involvement in the school community, spread kindness to others, and model what it means to be a Carver Crusader. As a student ambassador, we need to be responsible and keep up our grades, have good behavior, good attendance, listen to morning announcements, and check our emails to make sure that we sign up for events.
We have about 40 student ambassadors, so some of the events that we sign up for are on a first come, first served basis. As a student ambassador, one of our main jobs is to make others feel welcome at our school. Some of the events that we'll help out with this year are attending monthly student ambassador meetings to learn different skills, open houses, parent-teacher conferences, tour guides / peer helper for new students, pathway showcase night, guest speakers, department-specific events, transition to middle school, and greeters.
Our advisors try to teach us useful skills at our monthly meetings. Last week at our meeting, we worked on having good communication skills. We learned that it's important to be an active listener, have good body language, show empathy, and be clear and concise. We practice this by sitting with a partner back to back and describing a picture with our partner for our partner to draw to get them to match the drawing we were given. We had to give good directions and also be good listeners. It was fun to see how our partner picture came out.
We just finished term 1, and some of the fun events that took place at our school are, we hosted an ice cream social for all of our new students. A handful of student ambassadors got to introduce themselves to new students and share with them how they are involved in different activities and clubs in the school. The administrations and counselors were there too. We all got to make our own ice cream sundaes.
The movie loft was a fun after-school activity. The 6th graders class got to go to Camp Burgess. All of the middle schoolers had a Halloween social. There was a trip to Sawchuck Farm, and the 6th graders participated in Diversity Day. Stay tuned for pictures of some of these events.
This was the 6th grade field trip to Camp Burgess. Jalen Wynot won the camp raffle, so she got to ride into school on a fire truck. I went to Camp Burgess this year, and it was a lot of fun.
More pictures from Camp Burgess. You can see a group dancing, a couple of girls building a fire, and another student holding a chicken. There are a lot of things to do at camp. This was the Halloween social for students in grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. Students wore costumes, had fun dancing, hanging out with their peers, and enjoyed pizza and candy.
This was our after-school field trip to Sawchuck Farm. The students got to walk through the corn maze, go on a hayride, and participate in various fun hands-on activities.
Last week, students in 6th grade participated in Diversity Day. This day was put on by the Special Education Department at CMHS. The students visited various classrooms and learned about topics such as vision impairments, deaf/hard hearings, physical impairments, ADHD, learning disabilities, and autism. The students had a passport to document stations they visited and recorded what they learned. Thank you for inviting us to speak to you tonight. We will have a few other ambassadors back here on January 13th to tell you all about the exciting upcoming events at our school. Some of the events are 8th grade New York City trip and Crusader Day.
Some of the other events are the 7th grade trip for Trinity Respiratory Theater and also intramurals.
At Carver Middle High School, we do hall decorating for each holiday, and we also do drama productions.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, you're all welcome to stay, but we understand if you'd like to go enjoy the rest of your evening. I did want to mention that Tom from the EAPC is on Zoom. He's just under a different name, so that's why we didn't recognize his name.
So we want to go back to, is he
so,
under, Tom, you
yes.
under the name of Cindy?
Yes. He is there.
I'm on the Zoom.
All right, Tom, you should be able to turn on, you should be able to, good, I think.
Oh, we can't.
We can hear you now.
My computer broke last Thursday, so I've been using my office manager's computer, Cindy, so that's why my name came up as Cindy. Not that I didn't have anything too reminiscent, but I didn't want you guys to think I was blowing you off, because I would never do that. So I just want to say, good evening. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with the select board's decision tomorrow night regarding the split, the funding split. After I get done with my son's hockey practice, coaching hockey team, I will definitely be trying to turn in and see what happens there, because will have an effect on us. And lastly, really, he said, I just want to think, Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and outside of the 4th of July, I personally can't think of a better holiday with family, football, and food. So I just want to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving. That's it tonight.
All right, thank you, Tom.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so where are we now? Is Elena here?
Elena is here, yep.
Excellent.
So we're glad to have Elena Thomas, the chair captain, here to give us some comments from the Captain's Council. Elena, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. So the cheer team had a great season. The varsity cheer team hasn't gone to regionals since 2019, and this year we qualified for it by scoring above a 70. Our volleyball team finished the season with a combined record of 20-2 through the regular season and playoffs. In the round of 16, they lost to Hopedale 3-1, but fought hard until the end. 5 South Shore League All-Stars include Maeve Zakarewski, Amanda Byron, Julia Grimes, Riley Jenkins, and Addison Nall. Girls soccer finished the season with 3 wins, 13 losses, and 2 ties. They qualified for the MIAA tournament due to their competitive schedule and power ranking, and they lost in their home playoff game. They graduated 6 seniors: Jaden Sotomayor, Paige Medico, Megan McEnany, Anna Foley, Melina Berkerbine, and Sarah Stairs. Boys soccer finished their season with 4 wins, 13 losses, and 1 tie. Since restarting the program 3 years ago, it has been a long building process. Coach Santos has done well in building a good program that players are excited to be part of. They're most excited to compete next year as they return to the South Shore League and keep the same team from this season. Field hockey finished the fall with a record of 2 wins, 14 losses, and 2 ties. And they just missed out on the tournament as they were ranked number 35 in Division 4. The graduate seniors are Olivia Cornock and Kaylee Shirtliff. Golf had one of their best seasons in the program's history. Their team record was 11-4, and in the postseason, they found individual success as both Finn Manning and Kyle Hoffman placed top 10 in the D3 state sectional match. This earned them a spot in the D3 state championship, where they both competed well. Football's regular season record was 6-2, earning them the number 3 seed in the D8 playoffs. They beat Linvo Tech in their first round, 28-0. They beat Bourne 44-13 at home last Friday in the round of 8. They will be playing West Boylston on the 23rd at 3 p.m. at Woburn High School. For cross country, all athletes competed well this season, setting new PRs each week, it seemed. The boys won the South Shore League Tobin Division title, and Jake Holden competed in the state meet yesterday after finishing 10th overall in the MIAA divisionals to qualify. Esports is ranked 9th, and they are going into the playoffs next week. They play a variety of games like chess, Valorant, Super Smash Bros., and Mario Kart.
All right, thank you, Elena. Congratulations on
Thank you
a
very
great
much.
season for the cheerleading team as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Saw the video.
congratulations.
You guys did amazing.
Thank you.
You did a really great job.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so that brings us to the public comment portion of our meeting. So if there is anyone that is currently on Zoom or in the room that would like to speak, now is your time. If you're in the room and you'd like to speak, you can just come to the table, to the microphone. If you are on Zoom, you can please type your name in the chat to be recognized. Just as a reminder, everyone is welcome to speak for 3 minutes. The school committee does not respond immediately to public comment, but we do take everything that's brought to our attention back to administration to discuss. So, again, if there's anyone in the chat or in the room that would like to be recognized, if you could please come forward or raise your hand or type in the chat. Okay, I don't
see anybody in the
I don't see
chat.
anyone in the chat, and I don't see any movement in the room, so we shall move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of minutes from the October 21st, 2024 meeting of the Carver School Committee.
I move that we approve the minutes for October 21st, 2024, open session.
I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. No communications this evening?
No communications, but we
Okay.
can move, I'll give the personnel update, and then we'll move into the recognition of Teresa and Holly. So personnel update since last time we met. We've had a few new hires. Barbara Swine is a long-term substitute teacher, grade 3 at the elementary school. Paula Murphy is a long-term substitute teacher, special education, grade 5 at the elementary school, beginning 1/2025 in January. So Paula was with us, and then she's taking a little break, and she's going to be returning in January in that long-term substitute role in grade 5. Transfers, Barbara Waite is a long-term substitute special ed teacher in grade 5, so she's going to be covering for Paula while she's out for a period of time. And Melissa Dubois is a long-term substitute teacher for our TVI teacher, which is going to be beginning in February of 2025. And that's our personnel movement since last time we met.
Okay, thank you.
So at this time, we're excited to invite up Teresa Verrazano and Holly Hoffman, who are here this evening. And we're going to first do a little bit of recognition, second a little presentation of some of the stuff that's been going on in food services. So come on up. So this is pretty exciting. You guys excited?
Welcome.
So the recognition piece first. The United States Department of Agriculture recently awarded the Carver Public Schools Food Service Program with a National Healthy Meals Recognition Prize for trailblazing innovative improvements to make school meals healthier. And Teresa and Holly actually were recognized at the national conference out in Las Vegas. So that was pretty exciting. They had an opportunity to go out to Las Vegas and had a trip for the recognition. Cynthia Long, Deputy Undersecretary for the USDA Food, Nutrition, and Consumer Services, sent a letter to our district to acknowledge the incredible work our food service team has done to ensure that all students receive healthy meals. The award recognizes Carver for our implementation of farm-to-table ingredients and cooking meals from scratch in our kitchens. The USDA honored, as I said, honored them from October 21st to 23rd. They covered the entire cost of the trip out to the national conference and the national recognition. So we are only one of 39 school districts in the country to receive this award. So one of 39, outstanding. Teresa and Holly really lead this work. So thank you for all you're doing in terms of food services. So before we go, I know you want to share some of the stuff you're doing, but before we do that, let's have a real round of applause. For the
Congratulations, that's outstanding.
All right, so you want to tell us some of the exciting things that are happening that you're doing?
So, well, thank you again for recognizing us, and thank you for letting us present this evening as well. I just wanted to talk a little bit about our program right now and what some of our goals are. A lot of these goals are yearly goals, and we try to just build upon them. Our first goal, provide healthy and delicious scratch meals, which is what we actually won the award for. We'll continue to do that. Support the health of our students, and also goals trying to be more supportive of our planet, whether that be reducing paper products or continued with our hydroponic usage, which is less water, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So how do we get there? So some of our path to our goals is replacing a lot of processed food with real ingredients. Our students, they still love their chicken nuggets and their chicken sandwiches, but we try to do the whole muscle chicken so that it's a more quality product. Also, the students, they only get that processed food once a month. So they don't get the chicken nuggets every day or every week, they only get it once a month. We continue to grow our own lettuce. We now have 10 units. So we've been growing new stuff this year. We got bok choy growing, which we're pretty excited about. So we'll have a stir fry event for that. And one of my goals is to plant an apple orchard. So hopefully in the spring, we'll plant a couple of apple trees by the, out
By the greenhouse.
Yeah.
By the greenhouse.
Greenhouse area, yeah.
Very cool.
And why are we doing all this? Well, we're doing this because studies show that well-nourished children have better school attendance, they exhibit fewer behavioral issues, they're more engaged in the classroom, and they also contribute to better grades and test scores. So how do we help with our planet? Cooking from scratch and using products that are more sustainable obviously help the planet. Less plastics in the landfills, and so they're traveling. Our food is not traveling as far, reducing our carbon footprint. Also, try to purchase locally grown food as much as we can. In this area, it's a little hard sometimes to get locally grown food, but we try to still get our eggs and whatnot locally. Let's see, we also would like to create a food waste program. I'm in talks with Mr. Wechter and his environmental classes. We're gonna try to create some way of reducing our student waste and being able to either process it on property with a decomposer machine, I forget what it's called, or actually have it shipped out that will go to facilities where they will process food waste. So that's something that we'll be looking into also. My team, we have 18 employees now, and that's, if we add that up together, that we have over 170 years of experience just in Carver schools with our staff. We try to do as much training as we can. Most of our staff members are Serve Safe certified or food handlers certified. They do allergen awareness every year. We do our OSHA training. Everyone has professional standards that they're required to take care of every year. Depending on what your position is, would depend on how many hours that you have to fulfill for professional standards. And we just recently were trained by the fire department for our CPR. We had the chef come in and do some knife skill training for us. And we also had some fun team building exercises. Back to the year we bought those blow up sumo wrestler costumes. And we had the 2 different teams do different activities where we all work together. So that was just another way to learn some training and have fun while we do it. So our numbers progressively have increased. Fiscal 21, those numbers still during the pandemic. And we had certainly less meals. But as you can see, we've already more than tripled our numbers from fiscal 21, fiscal 24. We've had 165,000 just lunch meals alone. And you can just see how we progressively, every year, just continuously increase.
I mean, it's certainly, from my perspective, it's certainly clear that the state offering free lunches for all students is just having more students participate in the lunch program. And not saying you're great meals are doing that as well, but certainly I do think that the fact that, the fact that the state is paying for all students' lunches has a lot more students participating.
Yeah.
Especially in the breakfast program.
Yeah, breakfast program is crazy at the elementary school, like 250, it's just insane.
Yeah, there's a little, I know Rudy's gonna say, you said the number, about 250 kids are having breakfast on a daily basis.
In 20 minutes,
At the elementary school.
It is, it's an insane environment. Yeah, so certainly universal free meals. We've been lucky that we have a state that fully reimburses us for all our meals. So not only is our participation numbers gone up because of that, it's also allowed us to purchase better food, quality food, better equipment to actually cook the food. We have some great equipment that does just about everything but wash the dishes right now. So it's been a blessing for Massachusetts to have universal free meals. Yep.
The machine does wash itself.
And we do have a machine that washes itself. At the end of the day, it actually it's an oven that cleans itself.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's really a lot of fun to watch. And so that's just a breakdown again, obviously for last year, we served over 216,000 meals. Our participation rate for the elementary school is 61%, and at the middle high school is 68%, which is unbelievable. Generally, the high school, pre-COVID, was 30% participation, so, yeah, those are good numbers. And already this year, I'm just saying, since, compared to last year, we've already served 1,600 more meals than we did last year, so we're certainly on the same trajectory to increase meals. That 1,600 more meals actually translates into an additional $6,000 in reimbursements.
Nice. That's great.
Try It Tuesday is one of my favorite events. Gives the kids an opportunity to accept different foods a little bit better. And we try to introduce foods that maybe they might not have had at home, or something that maybe their friends would bring into lunch and they've never had. So we do, we had kelp meatballs last week, actually last month. They were fairly successful. I would say about 80% of the students like the kelp meatballs. We will be having them on the menu.
So
we make our own hummus.
The kelp replace the meat.
Yes, no
Okay.
meat. It's a plant-based product, correctly.
Cool.
We make our own hummus, so we did Try It Tuesday for different flavors of hummus. And those are just a little, they're like bento boxes that the students
So cute.
can pick for their hummus. And the shrimp scampi we actually did at the end of last year. So it was actually the hummus and the shrimp scampi that we actually helped win us the award that we award to have fresh seafood and reduce our sodium.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and that, so we didn't really talk about it, but we're recently applied for a grant to get a beehive. So hopefully that will go through, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to plant the apple trees. And
And you're actually working in coordination with the EAS pathway for that.
yes.
So the Environmental and Agricultural Sciences
Very
pathway
cool.
is working in coordination with
Yep.
food services to hopefully have a beehive.
Yeah. Grow our own honey, yeah. should be
Have
fun.
you thought about doing a Carver Schools cookbook?
I've thought about it. It's a lot of work. but-
Because I would buy it. I'm looking at like the pizza hummus, and I'm like, I want that.
The pizza hummus to chocolate hummus,
Mhm.
red roasted pepper hummus, yeah.
Now I know
Students
why
do
my
like
kids
it,
ask
yeah.
me for chocolate hummus.
Oh, and I had a transition that we all zoomed away, but I
Oh, there you go. You didn't zoom away.
Okay, that's it.
All right, well, thank you very much, and, obviously you're doing tremendous work in the food service department, and congratulations on your national recognition. One of 39 school districts is certainly impressive.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
amazing.
Thank you.
so very much.
Congratulations.
Okay, so that's going to take us to athletic updates.
Yes, we're pleased to have Kelsey Kincaid, our athletic director, here with us though I think Elena may have stole some of her thunder, but so we might hear some of the same information. And just give me a second I haven't been sharing my screen, which I should be doing for those people at home. So give me a second to do that. And then that allows me to bring the presentation up at home. All right, well, you should be all set, Kelsey. Maybe. Maybe not.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. So just wanted to give some fall updates now that majority of our fall teams have ended. We still have football going, and then just kind of give our winter update as we start in less than 2 weeks. So just our final team records this fall, you can kind of see, and Elena mentioned it. We had a lot of successes, whether it was wins or no wins or ties, but a lot of our teams had successes on the field, on the courts, and within the league.
And the football team made the Final Four.
Yes.
They did. It was a good
So
game.
some league accomplishments in particular, our volleyball team, boys cross country team, and golf team all were South Shore League champions. Elena mentioned some of our South Shore League all-stars, but in particular, Julia Grimes for volleyball, Landon Solowoda from golf, and Jake Holden all got South Shore League Player of the Year's recognition.
Which is
very exciting.
outstanding. That's
Yes.
exciting.
Very, very amazing accomplishments. And then team accomplishments in particular. So volleyball made it to the round of 16 in the MIA state tournament. Our cheer team competed yesterday at the MSAA regional tournament for the first time, I believe, since 2019, which is amazing. And they scored a 72.5. They did an awesome job against some very tough teams in our division.
It's a
but
very tough league.
They had a great performance yesterday. Cross country, our boys team came in 10th place at the MIA state sectional meet 2 weekends ago, and then this past Saturday, Jake Holden competed in the MIA state meet, and he came in 56th out of 186 runners in the state of Massachusetts. Our esports team is ranked 6th overall for their season, and they begin playoffs on Friday, which is very exciting for them. And then, as Scott mentioned, our football team is competing in the MIAA Final Four tournament for Division 8 against West Boylston on Saturday.
Amazing.
So going into winter, so tomorrow night is our Winter Meet the Coaches night for all sports at 6 p.m. This winter we'll be offering girls basketball, boys basketball, cheerleading, wrestling, track and field, boys ice hockey co-op, and girls ice hockey co-op. Our first day of winter tryouts is the Monday after Thanksgiving, which is December 2nd. And all of the registrations are due November 25th. So family ID, physicals, and everything like that, people to turn in. And then lastly, all of our winter schedules can be found on arbiterlive.com.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
overview and the update. Any questions or?
I'm just curious, in case anyone at home, are the details of the game on Saturday published yet?
They will be published tomorrow with the GoFan ticket link and all of the information about purchasing your ticket, details with the site, and everything along those lines.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and
Yep.
go Crusaders.
Yes, thank you
All right.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah, we got. Yeah.
Thank you. It's great to have so many things to report. Okay, so that's going to bring us to the AP SAT exam overview with Mrs. Cabral. Welcome, Mrs. Cabral.
Hi, everyone. So I'll start with SAT scores. Overall, our scores on both SATs and AP exams, our students performed very well. As you can see, looking at this bar graph, that we exceeded the national average scores both in reading and writing and in math, and we fell just short of the state averages in both reading and math. Reading and writing, we were 17 points below the state average, and math, we were 28 points below the state average, but close, and glad to see that we exceeded the national averages. Now I'll talk more about our AP placement. Just to explain process-wise, the students take an AP exam at the end of the course where they're scored on a scale of 1 to 5. If a student scores 3, 4, or 5, some colleges will accept that course as a college course, and they get credit for that moving into college. So all of this data is geared toward the students that scored 3, 4, or 5 on these exams. So this is one of my favorite slides in the presentation, because if you look, you can see just a few students less took AP exams than did the year prior. However, they took 159, so fewer students took 159 exams as opposed to the year prior, 132 exams. So that means more of our students are enrolling in AP courses, and that's wonderful to see. And then likewise, if you look at that, fewer students, 67% of them scored 3, 4, or 5 on their AP exams as compared to the prior year, 36% of them scored 3, 4, or 5. So that's great to see. And and that's an increase of, 60 exams, an increase of 60 exams with those scores. So that's impressive. Next, the English language and comp class. While we fell slightly lower than the state, we fell just above the global scores. So 60% of our students taking this course scored 3, 4, or 5 on the AP exams. English literature and comp. 91% of the students enrolled in this course scored 3 or higher in their exam. That 11 students were enrolled in this class, and they far exceeded the state scores. So the state scores 78.3%, and global was 72.4%. So the students really did an excellent job on that.
And the only point I would throw in here in general is that the state scores are generally the highest in the country for both the SAT and AP scores. So that's the high watermark. And the global scores or the national scores tend to be a little lower than the state because, like as I said, the state tends to be the highest scores. Year in and year out, Massachusetts has the highest scores in both SAT and AP scores. So anytime we're exceeding the state averages, that's our students doing really well.
Thank you. Next scores are the European history. So we've had great growth in these scores as well. If you look last year, we were like neck and neck with the global scales, and we fell just below the state averages. But this year, we exceeded both. 89% of our students scored 3 or higher. The state average was 76.1%, and global was 71.6%. So great growth in the European history course. Now, art history. This is the first year students have taken the AP exam in art history. And there were 2 students that took the test, and it was a virtual class, so it was a VHS virtual test, and they both scored 3 or higher on their exam. And then U.S. history. Again, tremendous growth on this. 16 students were enrolled in this course and took the exam. 98.8% scored 3, 4, or 5. That's compared to the state average of 81.7 and the global 72.1. So 16 students, that's great progress. So our psychology exams, we fell just short of both state and global. Although there was growth between the 2 years, our growth was 29.4% to 57.97%. So there was growth in that area, and there were 19 students that took this exam. And then physics. So while we'd like to see these scores be better, they did show some improvement, but of course we'd prefer to close the gap a little bit more between the state and the global averages. Statistics, similar. We really need to focus on working with department chairs, working with teachers, and figuring out how to close that gap a little bit. Calculus. So last year, we were underperformed both the state and global, and now this year, again, great growth. We exceed both of them. 85.7% of our students scored 3 or higher. That's compared to the state at 64.4 and global 64.5. So that's really great to see. Pre-calculus, this is the first year. We've had students participate in the pre-calculus AP, and they did very well.
And just as a point, this is actually the first year the pre-calculus AP was offered by the College
And-
Board. So this is the first time anybody took it across the country.
And this is really impressive. We had 24 students take this exam, and 95.8% of them scored 3, 4, or 5 on it. That's compared to the state average of 80.2%, and the global performance was 75.6. So really strong there. And then the next, computer science principles. So this is the second year our students have participated in this test. Again, this is virtual. There were 2 students, so 50%. So one student made 3, 4, or 5, and the other student did not. But 50% compared to the state, which was 68.2, and global was 63.7. And then there's 2 more, our biology scores. So biology, it tends to go up and down. I think last year we saw an anomaly that our scores performed so well, our students performed so well. We've dropped down a bit, but we still have improvement. 2024 is improvement since 2022. 53.3% of Carver scored 3 or higher, where the state average was 74.3 and global was 68.3. And then environmental, we continue to stay above state and global at 63.6% of our students performing 3, 4, or 5. So overall, I'm very proud of their work, and it's really some great accomplishments there.
Yeah, it was great to see some really strong growth across our AP scores. They're really good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, looks good.
Lots of
Thank you.
hours of studying. Thank you very much, Mrs. Cabral.
Thank you.
Congrats to everyone that earned those scores. That is not an easy feat. Okay, so that brings us to the district review updates.
So a couple meetings ago, I let the committee know that we've been selected for a district review from DESE. So I'm just going to give you some basic overview information about that process and what that's going to look like. So the district review is required by Mass law, and its goal is to measure district's adherence to the DESE established standards. And the analysis of these standards and the district's policies and practice allows DESE to provide feedback on how we might improve and promote equity for underserved students and groups. So ultimately, the goal is DESE is going to come out and says we have these established standards. How well does the district adhere to these standards? And then give us feedback on these are areas in which you can improve your performance and better support all of your students. That's the goal of the process. And I put this slide in because DESE, since Russell Johnson has taken over as acting commissioner, has redefined its vision a little bit. And DESE's vision really aligns with a lot of the things that we're doing within our own school district. And the same concepts that you see reinforced through our educational blueprint and through our focus of what we want to do and what we want to achieve. So I actually think there is a lot of alignment between what DESE is promoting that school districts do and the actions that we are actually taking as a district. So their vision is that all students are known and valued, that all learning experiences are relevant, real world, and interactive, and that we provide individualized supports that enable students to excel at grade level and beyond. Obviously, this is very connected to the work we've been doing both at the elementary school and the middle high school in terms of curriculum, with Bridges Math and units of study and our Pathways programs. There's been a real focus on what we've been calling deeper learning, and going with the concept that we really want all of our students to have real world experiences. And hopefully when DESE comes out, these themes are also woven into the standards. And hopefully when they come out, they'll see that we're also weaving these themes into the work that we're doing. And then we'll see that alignment. So DESE has 6 established standards. I won't read the list to you, but they're there. And we've been selected for what's called a targeted review. So they're not doing all 6 standards. They're only going to review 3. And in essence, for those 3 standards, they have what they consider a student-centered review and more of a district governance-centered review. So we've been selected for a student-centered review. So we've been selected for these 3 standards: curriculum instruction, assessment, and student support, which makes sense that those would be your student-centered focused. Where if you go back and look at the other standards, leadership and governance of financial asset management, Ron's happy, we're not doing, no, Ron would be happy to do financial asset management, and human resources and professional development. That's more your, so our focus is going to be what are we doing with our students around these concepts of curriculum instruction, assessment, student support. So what does it look like? The district review process is going to occur during the week of February 24th, and these are all the things they do. We have to provide them a lot of documents in advance, so we have to upload a lot of materials and information, which they review. They pull data from there, because we send data to the state all the time in terms of attendance, scores, actually on a daily basis. So all the data that we regularly send to them, they're going to pull and review that data, which actually makes this process a lot better than the last time we went through it. Around 9 years ago, we went through this last time, 10 years ago, 2015. We actually had to have like a file folder with documents that we had to copy and print of our adherence to each standard. Now they're saying, hey, there's a lot of data that's out there that you already sent to us. We're just going to pull that data, which actually makes the process a little bit of a lighter lift for our staff, and not having to actually make copies and file folders and all those types of things. So it's a lot of online stuff that we have to put forward. When they come, so they'll be here for the week of 24th. They haven't set the final dates yet. So obviously we'll come back and tell you these are the exact dates. But they will do staff interviews. They'll do student interviews at the middle high school level. They'll do classroom observations in both buildings. So they'll spend 1 day observing classes at the elementary school, 1 day observing classes at the middle high school. They estimate they visit about 30 classrooms each day. So they'll see a total of 60 classrooms in the district. That's an estimate. There'll be 3 members of the team who will be here. So in theory, when they go out, each of the 3 members will see approximately 10 classes. That's the goal. There will be a parent and community forum. And again, that hasn't been set yet, the date of it. It will be the week of February 24th. It will be in the evening. So obviously, once we finalize that date, we'll notify the community. It will be via Zoom. So there will be a Zoom parent forum that will invite the entire community to attend. There is also a school committee interview. So I'm going to try to, we actually have a meeting scheduled for February 24th. Though historically we've said we don't like doing those meetings right after February vacation, because that is the Monday after February vacation, but the way the calendar fell and the budget calendar, we decided to do that. So I'm going to try to have them do the school committee interview the same evening.
Okay.
If we can make that work. Because I think that would be, obviously, beneficial for the committee if we can try to put that all together in one night. But if not, might be looking at a different day that week for the school committee interview.
Okay.
So what's the goal? I already hit this a little bit. But the entire review culminates in a published report. So they'll give you something in writing that tells you this is how you're adhering to the standards, and these are areas or recommendations for improvement. There's actually a library. All of these reports are public. So I wanted to make the committee aware. This is a live link. If you want to go out and see previous and past reports, they're all available on the DESE website. You can go back and see our report from 2015. So the most current report for any school district is up, posted on the DESE website. If members of the community, they may not have this link, but certainly if you go to DESE and do district review, it takes you right to the page where all the reports are. And if you wanted to see a report or read a report, you could certainly do that. So that's the information we have in the district review right now. We're going through the process of working with staff to upload the documents that we're required to upload, building a schedule for the visit. That's an ongoing process right now. And I would think that I definitely have an update for you in January. Probably makes sense, and have all the dates finalized of when the parent forum will be, when the school committee interview will be, the days they'll actually be on site, the days they'll be observing in each building. We'll make that all available to the public. So any questions right now about our upcoming district review?
Anyone have any questions?
Yep.
Thank you for that. We look forward to more information.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so that, sorry, I went to the reports, 2015.
Yeah, but I'm still up.
It's been a minute since it was published. Okay.
So that will take us to private and outside enrollment for 2024 and a 10-year review.
So there's two documents here I'm going to pull up. I might toggle back and forth between them. So each year, as a school district, we actually, in all school districts, have this responsibility. We have a responsibility to find every school-age child that lives in Carver and where they attend school. And, you know, we started this actually since I became superintendent, so the last 9 years. In November, we've always looked at, you know, where everybody is and kind of keeping a track of, you know, the students who aren't attending the Carver Public Schools, where are they going to school? So I'll just kind of give you an overview review of the data and certainly open it up to any questions that you have. In your background, you have two documents, a list of students who live in Carver but are attending other educational opportunities, and this is this list here. You know, it tells you every single school students may be at. And then the second document is that 10-year review that kind of tracks this data over time. You know, how are we doing in terms of the percentage and number of students who are seeking educational opportunities in a different way. Okay. So, what did I pull out of looking at the data from this year? The overall number of students who live in Carver but are seeking educational opportunities has increased by 1 student from last year. Last year we had 252 students, or 14.2% of the school-age population in Carver, who were seeking educational alternatives. This year it's 253 students, or 14.4%. The percentage went up by 2%, 0.2%, because our population was down a little bit. So last month we looked at October 1 enrollment. We had 1 more student seeking other educational opportunities, and our enrollment was down a little bit. So the overall percentage of students who are looking for other opportunities has gone from 14.2% of the population to 14.4%. 10 years ago, that number was 218 students, or 11.6% of the population. And we talk about this kind of every year, and this is the chart that tracks that data. You know, so, and if you went back another 10 years, it would be less than 10%, probably be around 9 or 8%. But ultimately, the reality is students just have more choices now. You know, so we've had an increase in the number of charter schools, with, you know, the biggest impact being the addition of MAP Academy in Plymouth. So there's 2 charter schools in Plymouth, which we have a decent number of students attend. And the online options for students have just increased dramatically. And then also school choice. We're going to talk about school choice a little bit, but that's another option for students. So the reality is students living in Carver or throughout Massachusetts just have more options and more opportunities of places they can choose to go to school than they did 10 years ago, or they did certainly more than they did 20 years ago. You know, but one of our goals has been, we want to see this number come back. We want to retain our students. We want students to stay in Carver. That was part of our rationale for the development of our Pathways programs. Certainly, the goal of the Pathways programs is to give students good, outstanding educational opportunities. But if we're doing that, hopefully more kids will stay, right? So that is one of the things we're looking for here. You can see we did actually reach a peak in 2020, 2021 of 16.4% of students seeking some sort of other educational opportunity. And that number's come down a little bit. Now, obviously, there's a pandemic piece of that. You know, the 1920 school year was 13.6. 2020, 2021, we certainly had more students decide to homeschool. So there was a little shift to homeschool that year because of the pandemic. And then we saw that readjust and come back down. And now we've kind of been stuck at this around 14% the last 3 years, 14.4, 14.2, 14.4. So we've been a little steady, but we'd like to see those numbers go down over time. And then I'm going to hit some of these numbers, but it gives you the breakdown of where students are. You know, the biggest change for us this year, I'm getting ahead of myself in terms of my own list of things, but, you know, you look at this number, the clearest change is in the Volks Aggies. Our vote population was actually down last year. 87 was a low number for us. You know, looking over time, 87 was the lowest number in the last 10 years. And now 100 is the second highest number in the last 10 years. You know, so we did have a good number of last year's 8th grade class decided to attend either Old Colony or Norfolk Aggie or one of the vocational Aggie schools. So we're seeing that. But historically over time, that number is generally around 95. And that's actually true, that's true for years. You can go back 25, 30 years, and that number's always been around 95 kids in grades 9 through 12 who are attending an Aggie school, 20 to 25 kids per grade. And that's been actually very consistent over time. So I just gave away a lot of things I was going to say, but I'll go back to my list to see which ones I didn't say. I just talked about the Aggie schools. In terms of virtual private academies, that's been a little bit of an increase. So we do have 9 students who are attending some sort of virtual private academy. The first time we had a student attend a virtual private academy was in 2019, 2020. And it was 1 student. So obviously we've gone from 1 student in that type of program to 9 students. So, that you just see that kind of grow because it's just a new option. All these different, there's a list of them here, American High, and where they are. These students are taking classes in schools all over the virtual schools that are located all over the country. And more of those schools are popping up. More of those opportunities are existing for students. I do want to talk about the charter school enrollment a little bit. So our charter school enrollment has decreased slightly to 67 students compared to 69 last year. This is the 5th year in a row that our charter school enrollment has been between 66 and 70. So when I first became superintendent, one of our concerns was our charter school enrollment was increasing rapidly over time. And really for the last 5 years, it's kind of stabilized. It hasn't gone down. Certainly, again, with that same theme of we want to keep students in district, but obviously we also support families in making the decision that they feel is the best decision for their student about where to attend school. So I think it's a good thing that that charter school number is kind of flattened. Certainly, we'd like to see it go down a little bit and see some fewer students attending some of the charter school options that are available. But obviously MAP Academy coming online 4 or 5 years ago also helped that grow a little bit. And generally we have, I can tell you what the MAP number is, because it's here. We have 16 students attending MAP Academy, which I will say when MAP was founded, I supported the development of MAP. I was the superintendent at the time when that occurred. And it really is an alternative educational opportunity for some students who are seeking an alternative way to receive a high school diploma. And at the time I said, they might be able to offer a service that we here in Carver aren't able to offer. So I think I supported the development of MAP Academy. I don't know if 16 students need that. So I'd like to see some of those students stay here, but I do think there's been some real positives for helping students achieve their diploma through a program like MAP Academy. I think that's been a good thing in many ways. School choice, I do want to talk about school choice a little bit. So we have 5 students currently who are choicing out of the district. But conversely, we have 75 students who are choicing in. So we are plus 70 in that category. And I do want to note that 26 of our school choice students moved out of town but decided to stay in Carver. Because sometimes when we have to have that discussion about school choice, and every year the school committee has to vote in May, and sometimes there's different opinions about the positives and negatives of school choice. So I always want to at least remind the committee of that concept of, a third of our school choice students lived in Carver, were Carver residents, moved, but wanted to stay in Carver, so they're staying in Carver through school choice. So as we take that into consideration in the future, so I think that's something to look at. Religious private school enrollment has really changed. It's increased by 1 to 28 this year, but it's really down over time. Certainly, but that's because Sacred Heart closed and Chloe Cassidy closed. So Carver students, we used to have some students attending Sacred Heart at the high school level. We used to have some students attending Chloe Cassidy at the high school level. Those schools are no longer open. So if you go back to 2018, 2019, we had 51 students enrolled in some sort of religious private high school, and now we're down to 28. Homeschooling is down a little bit. So students and families deciding to homeschool has decreased from 38 students and 25 families to 34 students and 21 families. So that number is down a little bit. And actually our number of students attending what we would call the private academies, the Thayer, Tabor, is down a little bit from 8 to 6. But that's a number that's pretty consistent over time too. So if you look at that number over time, we always have kind of that level of students attending, the Miltons, Tabors, Thayers, those types of academies. So looking at all this information, looking at all this data in terms of where our students are attending, what are our takeaways? Our goal is to continue to build out our Pathways program and improve the overall climate at the middle high school to encourage students to stay here in Carver. The reality is most of these choices are at the upper levels. Some of them start in 4th or 5th grade. There's a lot less choices for students at the elementary level than there are at the middle and high school level. Many of the charter schools don't start to the middle high school level. So ultimately we want to keep working to have our students stay here. Always a note, the charter school attendance, even though it's steady, it is the largest financial impact on the district. So we do pay a fee for those students. So weird way to put it, but in essence, there's an assessment that comes back to the district, to the town really, for those students who are attending a charter school. That assessment actually increases over time. It starts at a smaller percentage and then grows out in terms of what our responsibilities are over time for students who are at charter schools. Being up 70 in school choice helps mitigate the financial impact of the charter schools. So on average, we receive about $5,000 for every student who is a school choice student. So that's a significant amount of money. And as we get into the budget, we talk about last few years, we've offset the budget by about $400,000 using school choice funds. So that does help mitigate part of the charter school issue. Obviously we've seen that we were a little flat, and we're hoping that over time we can see a decrease. And love to see the reality is there's a lot of choices, and some students and families are going to pick and select other choices. And they're certainly, as I said, I support families for making the best decision that they think they can make for their students in terms of where they're enrolled. I'd love to see us somehow get back to maybe between 10 and 12% of families that are out there. I think that's like a realistic number that we can work towards, and get away from kind of the 14% of students attending or looking at other options from the Carver Public Schools. So that's kind of our overview of finding where all the students in Carver attend school and sharing that information with the public and the committee. And I'll take any questions or thoughts that people have.
Scott, do we know if that 14.4, do we know where that falls in the local area?
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. That's something we could certainly research. I do not know the answer to that question of where that falls, but certainly we could take a look at that.
Yeah, curious to know where we fall in the region or in districts that are similar.
And I'm interested to see. I'm not even sure. I'll do some research. I'm not even sure where that number is published.
Where to find it?
Where to find that number?
Watch every school committee.
Right.
So no, we can certainly do some research on that because I think that's a good question.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Any other thoughts?
Anyone else have any questions or any thoughts? As always, we appreciate all the work that goes into putting this together. It's a
Gina,
lot.
Gina
So,
does a lot of
Gina,
this work.
Thank you very much for
In terms of going out there and
all of
collecting
your
the data
efforts.
and sending out the emails of, and everyone is doing this work. So certainly we have people contacting us to find out if our 70 school choice students,
Yeah.
they're those districts are reaching out to us saying we want to make sure that this student's enrolled in school choice in your school. So thank you, Gina. Thank you to everybody.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, too many tabs open. Okay, so that brings us down, quite a ways.
Upcoming events.
Upcoming events, yeah, that's great. Now see, okay.
One of our favorites.
Yes, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and obviously, I always think this section, certainly I don't want to read everything that's here, but there's always just a tremendous amount of opportunities and great things happening within the district that we want to take some time to highlight and just show the community and make people aware that these things are happening. All these events are available on our calendar and on our website. If you're looking for information, the calendar and the website's always a great place to go in terms of some of those things. So about things that we have coming up, as Kelsey mentioned, we have winter sports meeting tomorrow night at the middle high school for all those families who are going to be playing a winter sport. Thursday night's National Honor Society induction at the middle high school, so we're excited about that. Saturday is the MIA Final Four football game, which all that information will be coming out.
Oh, the turkey trot.
Tur-
It's the turkey trot
tur-
days. That
tur-
is
tur-
such a fun event.
Turkey trot at the elementary school on the 26th. Alumni breakfast on the 27th at 9 o'clock, that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And the Thanksgiving football game traditional is at Middleborough High School this year, so we're away on Thanksgiving. And then as we get into December, you're going to see our concerts are coming. So we're getting into the holiday season and all of the concerts that are happening. Obviously, we have the drama club here tonight to talk about the Addams Family. And we have Winter Wonderland at the elementary school. That's what I was looking for. Winter Wonderland, 12 to 2 on December 7th.
Oh, that's awesome too.
And the high school concert at 7 o'clock on the 10th. The elementary concert on the 12th at 6:30. And the middle school concert on the 17th at 7.
Right, so many wonderful events. And before you know
And
it-
then just as a reminder, which I know was has become a little controversial, we do have 2 full weeks of Christmas. So
We're the only one like in the area too. Everyone else has that.
everybody's going back on that Thursday. We're taking the full 2 weeks.
Yep.
16 days.
16 days.
16 days, Karen. Just remember, 16 days.
Yeah. Right. Anything else on upcoming events?
No?
Nope, very exciting. I hope a lot of people attend and cheer the students on.
Well, a shout out to the ESPs in 2 days for National ESP.
ESP Day is
That's a
which
little
is
personal.
Yes.
is on Wednesday the
Yeah.
20th, right?
Thank you, ASPs.
I'm moving on to student athletic handbook. If that's okay with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. This fall, Kelsey Kincaid, who was here earlier, worked to develop an updated student athletic handbook. She did really take a fresh start. She used the previous handbook that existed, but she also went out and looked and researched other districts' handbooks to kind of develop this revision. The athletic policy subcommittee reviewed the handbook and approved the handbook, but decided they wanted to bring it to the full school committee to a vote. Kelsey presented to the subcommittee. She was there that evening. We spent about an hour going through the document, and Kelsey answered questions that members of the school committee had. So for my recommendation, my goal tonight wasn't to necessarily do a presentation or a review of the handbook, but I would certainly recommend that the committee vote to approve the revised student handbook, which would go into effect once it's approved by the school committee for the winter sports season. So I don't know if there's any questions or thoughts, or if members of the subcommittee have any other additional information.
No,
Anything you
No
wanna share?
additional information here.
No,
I'm
there,
sorry, Jackie, what did you say?
I was just gonna say, were there any like really big changes to it?
There are some new additions. She updated everything, and there are a section that was added about banquets and team gifts that they all need to be approved by the athletic director. So that way we can make sure that the practices are fair and equitable for all athletes, regardless of team sizes. So there was,
that's the section on, it's very generic, but team
Right.
banquets and senior gifts.
yep. It's generic, but it's been an issue that's been raised in the past. So, and then there was some more information put in there about the athletic department award policy.
Yeah, she read that way. I don't know if that was clarified in the previous handbook, so she went through and,
Yep.
and it was just not necessarily a change, but just wanted to make sure it was clearly spelled out in the handbook of what the, what does it mean to get a C, a pin, a jacket, like what are the requirements for that?
Yeah, I think there's more information. I think there's more detailed information. We had a lot, I thought we had a lot of good discussion, asked some good questions, and got some great feedback. It's been great to see the increase in communication from Kelsey. And this is something that she's hoping to introduce tomorrow night, I believe. The concussion policy has
And,
also been
yeah, the
updated.
concussion policy was updated and put into the handbook.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So really, a lot of this was kind of a reorganization, and maybe a little more clarity and making sure policies that were in place, just making sure they're clearly stated here in the handbook. But there's not like a huge major
No.
change that we're bringing tonight saying,
Looks
hey,
good.
this is a real shift in what we're doing.
It does, it looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more, I think, organized in a more logical fashion now,
Very, very concise too, which is good.
right?
Okay.
So we're just looking for a motion to approve the student handbook if the committee would like to do that.
Yeah, I move to approve the student athletic handbook as presented this evening.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I just want to say thank you very much to ED Kincaid for all of the work that she put into tackling that. I know it was one of her first tasks when she joined our district back in July, so I'm sure our athletes and their families will appreciate it as well. And that brings us to financial update. Thank you in advance, Ron.
I got it. It's close enough. Pauline. That's a pretty light financial update. You had a heavy one at the last meeting, so try to alternate them. We already talked about the news out of Washington. Again, kudos to Teresa and her team. I think Carver's fortunate to have that kind of team running our food service program. Nothing from Beacon Hill right now. We expect that to ramp up as we get closer to budget season. The governor starts putting out her figures. No new grants have come in, but you do have your Q2 warrants in gray. Those are the warrants that have already been approved for Q2, and we just request the committee vote to approve the warrants that are currently out for Q2 and payroll and expenses.
Okay, I move that we approve the warrants as presented tonight.
I second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you for that.
Ron.
No transfers this month. We'll probably do them on the December meeting.
Okay, great. That
And
brings us to.
Ron's going to take us through capital too.
Oh, yay.
So at our last meeting, as Mr. Neve is pulling this up, at our last meeting, we presented the entire capital plan. One of the things that the town has asked us to do is to take a look at that whole capital plan and say, hey, like what are the priorities there ultimately? They created a structure for us to scale them 1 through 5.
That's what we didn't hear. It's my fault. So let me get that. I will
Okay.
get that document and we will link that document in.
I will give you a preamble as that's happening.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if you want to review some of the other.
No, go ahead. You can pull up that. I think the memo's got all of that. But so what you'll see in a moment when Mr. Neve pulls up the memo, essentially what we've done is we've said, look, all of our capital proposals are important to our school department. They're important to our kids, our community, and our staff.
I was
So-
able to open it. Sorry, I was able to open it. It's just lower, the prioritized plan. Right?
Yeah, it's not in the public
Sorry.
viewing agenda.
Oh, okay.
So I have to.
I'm sorry, I have it in the background. My
Oh, good.
apologies.
Okay, it's in there now? All right, Gina beat me to it. It's in there now.
Thank you.
All right, okay.
So while all of the proposals that we have for FY26 are certainly important to our kiddos, to our schools, to our community, and our staff, the town did ask us to try to prioritize those because we recognize there's only so much money that can go around. Every single year we identify as a community usually more projects than there is money. And so what every department is doing is we're taking a look at all of our projects, setting them on this 1 through 5 scale of priority. 1 being the very lowest priority, 5 being really our top priority. Our team took a look at the projects that we have, and here's our proposal to the committee. For your top priority projects, you obviously have the PA system. We think that's really just a security need for our school. We want to make sure that the system gets upgraded this year so that we have good coverage across the entire campus. The middle high school HVAC repairs, we're already in phase 1 of that project. We actually have equipment arriving on Wednesday, so we're really excited about that. But the last phase of that project will help essentially provide the cooling portion of HVAC to those interior classrooms that we weren't able to get in the last bid. the 71 passenger bus that continues to maintain our fleet, and the special education 7D minivan, again, with our increase in kiddos who have had significant special education needs. We've had to expand our 7D fleet. This will continue to allow us to expand that fleet and continue to replace some of the vehicles that are getting older. So those are really our top priorities that push comes to shove. We'd really need to have those as a school district. The next phase are really continuation projects, the classroom modernization. That's in phase 4 already. We've done a few classrooms already. We think it's a great way, short money, to extend the usable life of that building. So we'd like to continue with that project. The middle high school educational technology is very similar. Again, it's that cycling of making sure that all of our technology is up to date. Any technology that's starting to, fall by the wayside gets replaced. And last but certainly not least in category 4 is that library update. We've had to punt on that the past couple of years. Funding's just been super tight, which is really understandable. But the library is really overdue for a nice facelift. That's really FF&E, furnitures, fixtures, and equipment ultimately there. So we keep the bones of the place as is, but we give it a nice refresh to try to extend the useful life. Number 3 is the CES technology. That's a replacement cycle that's similar to the middle high school, but obviously the elementary school is a little bit newer, so we have some more leeway on that technology. And the same is true with the berm removal. We've talked about that berm. It really is something we should tackle, but push comes to shove. We've had it for a few years already. We can certainly, if need to, sort of hold back on that. And last is a relatively new project that's popped up, but we wanted to talk a little bit about it this year, and that's why it's our lowest priority. Again, we've got those 2 areas over in the back of the elementary school that get a ton of usage. Kiddos love that space, which is wonderful, but it is natural grass, and when you have 750 kiddos sort of running on natural grass for several months on end, it just can't keep up. And so the proposal there would be to resurface that with something like an artificial turf that's got wood fill versus rubber fill ultimately. That'd give us a lot more usage. It avoids the situation in which it becomes a sort of mud pit toward the beginning of the winter. So that's as we see the prioritization. We'd certainly defer to the committee on what you'd like to do in terms of prioritizing the projects. What we'd like to do after tonight, with your input, is share this list with our colleagues over in Town Hall. They can ultimately share it with the capital team and continue that process.
And then I would assume that the capital committee will be asking us to come forward and present to them sometime in the near future as well.
Okay.
So any thoughts on the priorities? We can certainly shift things around. This is what we came up with, but the committee can make a different list using this system of rating things from 1 to 5.
How old is the bus that's going to be replaced?
The bus is 11 years old. Sorry, 11 years old. Got 105,000. Don't quote me next mile. It's just about 100,000 miles on it, which is typical for us. Typically around 10 years or 100,000 miles is when we do our cycle through of a bus or a vehicle. Side note, I just want to give you some context to that. Typically, your vehicle at home, like my truck, it's got about 130,000 miles. It does just fine. But a bus here in New England, it's more often body rot that it gets it more than the engine. And so at about 10 years in New England, you typically cycle those out.
And we deferred a bus
Last
year.
Yeah.
Is it being used right now? Or is it one of the ones?
It's one of the spares. So what we do is we keep a couple of spares as part of the fleet because buses break down from time to time. We've got pretty tight routes as it is. And our mechanic, if there's one that gets broken down, if it can get back to the depot, great. If it gets towed back, it gets towed back. And then one of our spares goes into cycle so that we don't miss a beat getting kids to and from schools. So what we do is we cycle out our spares. Those are the ones that either get sold or scrapped. If there's people that'll buy it, we're happy to take their money for it. We take that money, we buy brake pads and tires and those sorts of things for the rest of the fleet. If not, it goes to scrap. And then the next oldest bus that's currently in circulation in the routes goes to spare. And it stays as a spare for a couple of years, and that's sort of how we cycle to ensure that the routes are still running on time and running well, having a couple of spares.
I think the capital committee is going to ask to come out and take a look at the buses.
We would love it. We've offered a couple years in a row, and we'll give you a tour.
I was
It's pretty
wondering
cool.
if, I'm not on the capital committee, Jackie is, but I was wondering if we could also attend that
Sure.
separately.
It's fine.
Yeah. Let us know. We can coordinate a date. We'll bring you down to the depot. Give you a tour.
We'll
Okay.
probably find out on the 25th.
Great.
And then just in general, I think you've seen most of these things you've probably seen besides the buses per se. But, you know, we do a tour. Our policy actually calls for us to do a tour of the buildings
Yeah.
before school starts. And then also in February. Which I don't know if we've always done, but the before February was based on like finalizing capital decisions too, was to do another tour in January.
Okay.
So we can go look at anything.
Yeah.
We didn't actually go into the library, did we?
Yeah, I don't know if we did go into the library, so we could.
I've been in there, but I don't remember doing
I
it
don't
on
think
the
we
tour.
did.
No, we didn't do the
Yeah, so we
library.
could definitely do a tour in January as well, as
Yeah.
we prepare for capital.
And we can always amend that to include the bus barn moving
Yeah.
forward. I think it would be a good exercise,
Yeah.
especially for newer members to go over there and see what it's all about.
Yeah, but certainly if capital's going out, it makes sense for the school committee to join.
Yeah, put it all together.
So-
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, go ahead.
Is it two spare?
We have 2 spares right now, yeah.
So along those lines, is the SPED 7D minivan, is that a replacement as well?
Oh,
Or
no,
is that
that's not a replacement, that's in addition to the fleet.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're continuing to expand the fleet, and you'll get it when you get the tour, but our bus depot sort of backs up against some of the land that the middle high school has. We've actually started cutting out some trees there to like expand the parking lot, both for our drivers to park, but also to continue expanding the 7D fleet. Yeah, but you'll see it in the tour, it's pretty cool.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or want to make any changes to prioritization? Okay.
Okay. I move to approve the FY '26 capital plan prioritization plan as reviewed this evening.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for that information, and we'll look forward to scheduling a visit to the depot. Okay, so that brings us to reports from the school committee. Does anyone have anything they would like to report?
I would.
Okay.
I just want to say, first off, congratulations to Stephanie. She is now secretary at MASC, and it's a really wonderful thing. I think I'm proud of you for getting that.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then I guess I can just kind of review. It was nice to go to a bunch of the different what are they, seminars and whatnot, and I learned a lot about policy and about contracts and stuff. So it was a really informative thing to do. It was good, and just meeting new people, and yeah, I enjoy going to that.
Yeah, so November 6th through the 9th was the joint conference of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees and the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents down in Hyannis, which Jackie and I both attended. It's always a great opportunity, like Jackie said, for us to meet with other colleagues from across the state, learn best practices. It's a great environment to ask questions and learn. So one of the things that I actually brought back for everyone, it's called the Dignity Index. It was a presentation that was done by Tim Shriver, which was absolutely amazing. Superintendent in our neighboring town over in Middleborough is going to be looking into bringing this forward to her district, which I think every district should do. I honestly think that every person, every human being should learn the Dignity Index and apply it to their personal life, their professional life. I think there are some great lessons here for us that we can all learn, and certainly some great lessons that we can pass on to our students. So still waiting for the slide presentation. MASC has been posting the slide decks from the sessions on their website. This one is not available yet, but when it is, I will
Did you get a bunch
certainly.
of these two, or just the packet?
I was unable to get
enough of those. I only have 2. So I know that some people at MASC are trying to get their hands on more, so hopefully we'll be able to and share them out. It's a card that has the Dignity Index. This is the one I believe that is for high school and above. And then they also have these for middle school and for elementary school.
And I like how in the middle school and elementary, they cut
preschool.
off from
Yes.
4 to, in this
Yeah.
year, it's 5 and 8. That's all it shows.
So they're very, very mindful in what the scale looks like from preschool all the way up through high school. So there are copies of those in the slide deck, which could be on their website as well. So I will make sure that I follow up with that so you can take a look at it, Scott and Meredith, and see if any of that can be adopted at the elementary school or the middle high school, seeing as how it covers.
Jackie actually
preschool through
shared,
12.
Jackie shared this with the piece. I have this.
Great.
I was able to
Ravis,
give
yeah.
this to him too. Though.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I gave him mine, so I'm like, okay,
Okay.
I have this now.
Yeah, no, I only have a few, unfortunately, but it was a great conference. I always learn something every time that I go, so I highly recommend it.
Definitely. And it was fun. It was, the comedian was fun.
Yes.
Tim Bowles.
Yeah, there was a variety of different presenters this year. Russell Johnston, the interim commissioner of DESE, was there, gave a great presentation. Jimmy Tingle, comedian, was very interesting. John Keller from Channel 4. So there are lots of opportunities to chat and laugh, which I think we all needed to do collectively, because education is always a complicated space. So it was really great to see some colleagues I haven't seen since last year. And quickly on that note, so it's November, at the end of January, I will be attending the National School Board Association Advocacy and Equity event in Washington, D.C. On the 31st, I will be attending the Eastern Regional NSBA nominating committee meeting, and then the conference on the 2nd through the 4th. We will be visiting Capitol Hill, but we really expect it to really just be an opportunity for us to meet with our senators and thank them for their support, and just show them our appreciation and our gratitude, and as well as share some great things that are happening in our district. So Scott and Ron and Meredith, I would love to be able to take some talking points with me of some things to share in our districts. If there's anything that the 3 of you specifically would like to share, that would be great to be able to do, because then I can also share that with other colleagues from across the country. So with that, it's crazy to say, but happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope everyone enjoys a nice little holiday weekend. And again, please be mindful of the buses. I know it's dark out there, but please stop. And does anyone have anything they would like to add? Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Sure. I move to adjourn the November 18th, 2024 open session of the school committee meeting.
I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, 7:39 p.m. The November 18th, 2024 meeting of the Carver School Committee is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.